Get your copy of my Amazon #1 bestseller in science and religion, The Magic Man in the Sky, Effectively Defending the Christian Faith. Considering the world in which we now live, you need this book. Get your copy today, Amazon.com or the WND Superstore. On Thursday, June the 28th, 2012, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled in favor of the greatest tax hike and power grab in United States history, and some have argued in the history of the world. Obamacare, the health care law enacted by the Obama regime, which forces all American citizens to purchase health insurance on penalty of fines or even imprisonment, was deemed by the Supreme Court to be justifiable based on the U.S. tax code of all things. In other words, the Supreme Court declared the individual mandate to be a form of a tax, even though Obama and his minions promised us and still insist that it is not a tax. Obama has essentially enacted an enormous power grab with the backing of the Supreme Court, which forces people to buy a product invented by the federal government and deemed to be necessary in order to live as a citizen of the United States. In argument of this power grab, it has been argued that everyone is forced to buy car insurance. But people are only forced to buy car insurance when they drive on public roadways. If you drive on your own property, for example, or any other private property, you are not required by the government to buy car insurance. You are also not required to buy car insurance if you don't drive. On the other hand, Barack Obama has now required every American to purchase a product, health insurance. You do not have a choice. So where does this end? The floodgates are now wide open. It doesn't end. The Supreme Court has now set the precedent for future forced purchases by government as long as the product purchased can somehow be declared to be a tax. This is an enormous, unprecedented power grab. America, as we knew it, died on June the 28th, 2012. What does this have to do with 1934? Friday, the day after the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Obamacare in Washington, D.C., it was declared the hottest day on record, beating out the last record on that same day in 1934. The National Weather Service says that just before 3 p.m. it was 104 degrees at Reagan National Airport just outside of the city. That beats the record of 101 degrees in 1934. It was the hottest day politically in Washington, D.C. in the history of the United States, in that America was fundamentally changed on that day. It was also the day in which the hottest weather was recorded in Washington, D.C. But more important than the weather correlation, 1934 was the very year Adolf Hitler combined positions of Chancellor and President and became Führer of Germany. Another coincidence? Or another ominous sign of things yet to come. We are living in prophetic biblical times. Our military is now openly celebrating sodomy, the only superpower military in the world to do so. Our nation's top leaders have just a few months ago declared that marriage is just as sanctified between two men as it is between a man and a woman. We continue to murder children in the wombs of their mothers, while protecting eagle and turtle eggs under penalty of federal law. We continue to teach generations of children that there is no God and that they are merely the product of a random set of accidental circumstances. And now the Supreme Court of the U.S. has declared the government can force us to buy anything it wants as long as they call it a tax, force us to buy it, or place us in prison. Got Jesus yet? I certainly pray so.